Okay, hello guys. I will be going over your outputs on an Apple man sir. I'll just give comments and then you just watch the video instead of writing these comments sa inyohang mga gipang submit ng mga output. So we'll start with Alexis Jan Habelio, kining proper pruning of ampalaya. Okay, I hope you can see this one. Proper pruning of ampalaya. We will look into the title later on. Okay. What's important to me actually is kani inyong objectives, no? Your objectives, it says here, to create and refine appropriate ampalaya pruning methods to determine the ampalaya's growth and health following pruning, to understand the potential impact of trimming on the fruit of the ampalaya. So first comment here is kanang your objectives must be clearly stated. Nila pa smart kono, specific, measurable, attainable. Kalimot ko sa tong R niya, T is time bound, pero more sort of suggestion na siya. Pero ang objectives na to is basically like we will be answering this after you conduct your study. Now, for example, if you try to look at number 1, to create and refine appropriate ampalaya pruning methods, are you actually creating maling inigkahuman sa study na mo'y bagong paagi? Probably dili. It's still vaguely stated, no? To determine the ampalaya's growth and health following pruning. Now, you're talking about growth and health. How do you quantify growth? So it should be measurable, like growth. Probably you should talk about specifics like number of branches, like to determine the number of branches as affected by the pruning approach. Something ingana, or to determine the height. Now, height and number of branches are now measurable. Growth, vague pa. Health, saan mo ito pag-quantify ng health? No? So like for example, the number of healthy leaves or green leaves against the number of patay nga leaves. Probably you can use that one as health. Still, the objectives that you stated here is dili pa siya klaro, no? To understand the potential impact of trimming on the fruit of ampalaya. I mean, to understand unsa may pasabot ana potential impact, potential pag wa kita kabalo sa impact. To understand is sabton. See? So, I think my point here is you have to choose words nga klaro. So, naatay mga kumbaga sort of standard nga sa paggamit sa mga terms. So, na you can look up actually, i-google lang nako, no? Bloom's taxonomy verbs. Try to look at that one. I hope it's verb chart kini. Kani siya ba nani mga terms? Okay. Example. Remember, understand. These are the levels, no? So, use these words. So probably ari lang ta sa sayon. Easy for you to do. Now, para lang ma-remember, to remember, for example, you cite, define, describe, draw, enumerate, identify. So probably identify is a good choice of verb. Match, meet, name, outline, point. Takan kinang words. Understand, add, approximate, articulate. Now, these are actually mga terms ng mga measurables. You can look this up. So instead of using the term, for example, this one, to understand, libog na, determine siguro. It's easier to understand o kung sa ibot pasabot sa determine, to create, maghimo man ka, refine, murag libog pa na siya. So you have to be specific. So you can consider blooms, no, mga words diha o unsay appropriate. The way I understand, I think we already have talked about this one in one of our classes before, no, is I suggested nga kung pwede, di ba, I'm not sure about sa kanang pattern gani sa leaves sa ampalaya, kaya na may uban nga, for example, alternate, let's see, ampalaya morphology. Makita tag picture kasi makita ta. Kini ang pattern niya sa pagdahon niya ba, ug asa dapit siya manggawa. So na may uban ana nga alternate kini. Okay, for example, this one na isa nga dire, there's another sanga. So alternate siya diri nga side, then sunod dire na pud sa pikas. Na may uban tanom nga diri pa lang daan duha na magsanga. So ang question karon here is asa ta mag-prune or pila ka buok atong i-prune. Okay, so I think the better term here is pruning management, no? Like which branch you are going to cut or to prune. Is it the first branch? Is it the second branch? Is it the third branch? And so on. So na ay mga management ana nga practices nga you can look up. So in addition to that, probably unya na lang title ha, but something like your title will be playing around, no, pruning management of ampalaya or mamurdika. Ano ba na ba ni H? I'm not sure, charantia. No? Now, if we go to the objectives, ampalaya is often known as bitter gourd. So this is blah blah blah. So this is coming from Tremblay. It doesn't mean, by the way, nga one paragraph should come only from one source. This is properly cited. That's good. I hope to see this one dito sa ubos. Let me see. Tremblay. Asa man si Tremblay. Adira. Okay. Oh, follow the proper citation style, ha. Do not forget about that. So dapat na Tremblay. So kini is an introduction sa ampalaya. It's okay. Kani, summer or dry season are typical growing, it performs probably. I think this is, pwede rin na to ni i-combine into one paragraph, no? So ayuhon lang ninyo ang transition from one topic or concept to the other. Due to its nutritional therapeutic benefits, Filipinos eat most. You can take this out. I don't think this is important. Now, again, I have been emphasizing this one in our classes nga we have to be as specific as possible. So, dili na ta maghisgot siguro history sa ampalaya, ingana, and so on. No, dili na ta maghisgot og asa gikan. You just give a brief introduction of the ampalaya, scientific name, tropical, subtropical vine. That's it. One paragraph. Next paragraph, you talk more about pruning na. Okay? Like, unsa man ang pruning management nga gibuhat sa uban vegetables? Are there other studies? You try to answer the question o nganong kaniman nga study atong gikandak. Okay? So, generally, ang atong format, you follow the format, by the way. I already gave you a prescribed format nga atong sundon. Okay? Anya, sundon na to ang format. Anya, naato siya 4 parts, I think, sa atong introduction, if you can still remember it, right? Gitagaan ta na mo, ana. Let me find that. For a while, ha? That is subjects. Gubot kay ko sa references. Good to see at formatting guidelines. We are using this one. Say at formatting guidelines. Mention manuscript binding. General guideline, text structure. Sama to the bit, eh? Table textual equation. Design and structure, general guidelines. Ani parts, ani, which is now okay. Now the nature and importance of the study. Ana gani, significance of the study. 4 parts na siya. Let me find that one first, huh? Textual presentation. Okay. Kani? So, money ang atong parts, main heading, introduction, review of literature, materials, and methods. Wala pa tayo results and discussion, summary, conclusions, recommendations. Wala pa na. This, you just come up with 1, 2, 3, and 7. Okay? Dayon, there are parts, dera, money ang parts sa ito, ang major subsection. For introduction, background of the study, significance of the study, objectives of the study, scope and limitations of the study, time and place of the study. Now, generally, mauni siyang parts, but it's okay if you do not have some of this. Like, for example, you may not include time and place, but it would be good to just follow this one. I hope I'm not talking too fast. On some of the background of the study, it basically puts your reader into gear, no? you allow your reader to understand what you are studying, to kumbaga introduce your reader into what are the stuff that you are looking into, no? That's background of the study. So a good place to start with that will be kani kini ampalaya is a bitter gourd. It is economically important sa Philippines. You talk about that. Kaya, I mean, what's the point? And then probably you talk about ano, significance of the study. Okay, significance of the study, diri naka mo talk og nga naman, you answer the question why you are conducting this particular study. Background of the study is you introduce your topic to your reader. Like mayroon ka, ampalaya is this and that. In the Philippines, it is an economically important crop. Blah, blah, blah. Pila ka metric tons ang harvest in a year. Generally, it's produced in Baguio and so on. That's its background of the study. It's important because it is rich in nutrients. That's it. And then when you make a significance of the study, you look into the reasons why you are conducting the study. Now, for example, you're talking about pruning. So, mahitabo here is you answer the question nga numan nga you wanted to look into the pruning management of ampalaya. Or then you talk about unsa na, like for example, like most farmers for example are not practicing pruning sa ilang crops. Yeah, actually ang pruning is already an accepted fact, accepted nga scientific process nga maka-improve sa ato ang yield o nga na. Then you answer that one. Ari na diri nimo ibutang sa significance of the study. Pruning is a good management, horticultural management sa atong vegetables because mas budagko ingana mo improve ang quality sa ato ang fruits. In this case, ang palaya. There is a study by so and so, for example, doing a pruning sa mauni nga crop, ang iyahang harvest is this and that. So you read more about pruning. And then you talk about objectives mo na ni ang tumong ug tuyo. So right now, your objectives, like I said, you can combine paragraphs 1 and 2 and then add more material on katong akong i-suggest ka ganiha. And then kaning uban pwede na nimo i-take out, no? Then ang objectives is, like I said, this is still too general, no? Rather dili pa siya kumbaga measurable maglisod ta. So you have to be more specific. Now, the idea that I was thinking when I suggested this one sa inyo is, di ba, gusto man ta nga mutan-aw sa effect sa pruning dito sa ato ang ampalaya. So maybe you can look into to determine, di ba? To determine the ampalaya, to be specific na fruits na lang, no? Fruits as affected by the pruning approach or pruning strategy, no? So to determine the yield, so that's yield na lang, to be more specific, to determine the yield of ampalaya as affected by the pruning approach or pruning strategy, to determine the number of fruits, so it's a yield component, number of fruits, the size of fruits, yan na, size of fruits, ang mo yung kag-yield more on ang total, ang amount nga imo ma-harvested, then size of fruits, then general health, maybe descriptive na lang to document na lang, kaya di na lang ta mag-compare, to document the general health of the ampalaya, di ba? Ana as shown by the general probably the quality of the leaves or the number of leaves and so on. Unsa man ang pruning management, you have to specify this one sa inyong methods na, like what are the different treatments, like are you going to prune the first branch, is it the second branch, is it the third branch or the fourth branch? So alternate ba, like for example tawag you mention ninyo branch 1 i-prune, then 2, 3, 4 i-retain, inig ka fifth branch i-prune na po. So or branch 1 i-prune, retain ang branch 2, prune na po ka branch 3, retain na po na branch. So adto na ninyo i-discuss sa inyong methods. Okay, so para nga makover na to ang uban po, okay, I think that's enough for now. You ask me more specific questions later kung mag face-to-face na ta. So right now, you look into this. Think of my suggestions. Kadtong uban, na wala pa na ako maisguti, try to learn from the mistakes of Alexis Jan Habelio and others in this group. Yeah, by the way, you follow already the format that I already gave you. And then, please indicate the names sa kauban ninyo sa grupo. Kaya will I know? So, i-appeal din ninyo. Probably part of the cover page. Okay? Next one. Again ha, learn from the others' mistakes. Okay, this one, Angelica Lopez, kisa may kagrupo ni Angelica. Okay. Fermented marine weeds to prevent tip burn of lettuce in hydroponics. Okay, wrong spelling ha, PE. Wala na H din na hydroponics. Let me see the objectives. Kabantay na mo, objectives tayo na kung tanawon. Okay, tanawa. It will aims the following importance. So, this is not importance ha. Ang objectives na to again is tumong tuyo. It will help the lettuce growers to use organic treatment for tip burn. No, that is not an objective. Can prove if the fermented marine weeds is effective in curing the tip burn in lettuce. No, this is an idea but it's not an objective. Can produce good quality lettuce, not an objective. More saleable vegetables, not an objective. Protect and prevent tip burn in lettuce at the same time. It gives nutrients. No. Big help for a good no. Mura kag naghiskot ra kag importance din hiday Angelica. Okay, including your group mates ha, tabangin ninyo ato nang balikan later. So nana ka idea. So I look into, follow the format I gave you. Ano ni lain-lain no tanawa pag abot din lain gani ang font. No, inyo ra nang copy paste. Be consistent all throughout. I already gave you a format. You follow that one para dili ta magkalanrakas, dili gubot. Okay? Kani justified ni siya pag abot nimo diri sa babaw. Oh, naliko-liko, so it's not justified. Ang mga bantayin na ninyo ha. Although this is yun not the primary concern na to, but you have to be consistent all throughout. This is just left justified. Pag abot nimo second paragraph, full justification. Klaro na kayo, I can see that one. Okay. Fermented marine weeds to prevent tip burn of lettuce in hydroponics. Day Angelica, may tag tip burn, maglisod pa ta o kung ano, o mo yung ganita o we are trying to prevent tip burn sa lettuce using marine weeds. Dapat pagsugod pa lang daan na sila tip burn daan, no? Magag atong pugson nga kabaluta nga kani nga batch, all of them has tip burn. Instead, ayaw lang siguro i-specific mo, maybe you just look into ang effect sa marine weeds dito sa lettuce in general, no? It would be good na inaghimo ninyo sa inyong methods, i-indicate na ninyo. Okay? Ay. Okay na, please. Anya, let's go. Diyan lang. Diyan lang po dito. Thank you. Bayaran na pod. Ato na Miss Jenny bayad. Thank you. Dayon, where are we? Let me read this one ha. Fermentation. You talk about fermentation. I think layo na kaini with a commercial source like fermented marine because they contain a growth promoting like auxins and your trace elements and growth stimulator required by plants. Okay. That's a good start. Pero please be specific og unsa nga marine weeds. Unya, please be careful with the term weeds. Kay di ba? Agriculture man ta, weeds gani is unwanted plants man na siya. So siguro probably the term there is marine plants or tawgo na nila usahay og seagrass. And grass is also specific. Try to be careful. Second year pa man mo. Grass dili tanan sagbot grass na ay grass, na ay sedge, na ay broadleaf. Okay? So be careful with the words weeds and grass. Kay sa una ra ba atong naandan as layman, ordinaryo nga tao, may ganitag sagbot grass or weeds. But weeds is unwanted plants. It can be a grass, it can be a sedge, it can be a broadleaf. So try to be specific. Mas maayo og imong hinganlan with scientific name ug unsa nga sa may tawag na di na si weeds. It's probably called a sea plant or whatever, or hinganli na lang yun ug unsa, no? Fermented. This is a good start. You don't need to mention well, that's okay. Fermentation is an ancient, yeah. Fermenting marine grass or marine plants, kini is imuha na ni siya. Try to do away with tip burn. Okay, so probably you look into wala man rin tip burn. Ayaw lang tip burn ha, kay it's difficult to isolate that one. Tip-borne problem also appropriate lettuce. Agriculture. Okay. Instead of tip-borne siguro dai, tanaw na lang nato ang growth and yield of hydroponically grown lettuce as affected by the application or as affected by the application of fermented uh, seaweeds or seagrass or sea plants or whatever. You name that specific lumot ba na or shala na siya. Ha? Again, growth and yield lang of lettuce. Ayaw lang nato specify nga tip-borne as affected by the foliar application or something like that. Your title will be something like ako lang no? Growth and yield of hydroponically grown lettuce as affected by the foliar application of fermented seaweeds or whatever. I'll say proper term. Ako, naanad po kong seaweeds, tanawa lang o what is more appropriate. So your title can be right now, again ha, ang title is the last one nga ato ang buhaton. But right now, I'm looking at something like this. So growth and yield of hydroponically grown lettuce, katong hydroponics naman, as affected by the foliar application of fermented seaweeds, something like that. But try to be specific unsa nga seaweeds. Okay, mas maayo og doon na kay scientific name dia, suksok po di mo dia scientific name sa lettuce. Now, we already have talked about growth and yield. So, your objectives should be somewhere there, no? Dili na tawo help lettuce farmers, ingana, o tan-ana na to. So, unsa may effect niya dito sa growth ug sa yield. So, unsa man ang actually na ako gisend ni Inday. I have one advice pero sa itong pangalan niya, kajat lang ha. Kita mo sa mga email ani ron. Let me find it first ha. Jessa. Okay, na kani mo niya akong isa-Jessa ha. I hope you can see this one. Let me increase. Okay, ayaha. Kada mabasa ra siguro na ninyo. Akong i-suggest title, Growth and Yield of Hydroponically Grown Lettuce as Affected by the Foliar Application of Salicylic Acid. So, treatments, you indicate unsan treatments ninyo. So, iaha 4 treatments of different concentrations. In Yuha, maybe you can use different seaweeds. Pwede na. That will be your treatments. Para na natin idea sa ibuhaton na to. Experimental design is CRD, variables to be measured. Ari na nato ibalighot ang ato ang objectives. Now, unsa may atong i-measure? These are the variables that we want to measure, no? Size or crown or head diameter. So, mayong ka siguro determine the growth of hydroponically grown lettuce as affected by determine the growth of hydroponically grown lettuce as affected para maka-type ta. Patay. Sakpa naman ko. Determine the growth of hydroponically grown lettuce as affected by the different, siguro you can look into different seaweed extracts, no? Different fermented seaweed extracts. So maybe siguro particularly the following. Particularly in terms of the following. Okay, so unsa man ana na growth man may kag height sa paman crown diameter, diba? So duha mo na ni siya. Primary, pwede sa primary crown diameter, primary axis and secondary axis, diba? Mura mo na siya. Crown diameter is you're looking from the top. So for example, okay, mao ni siya ang inyong lettuce head, for example. Ari ka nagtanaw diha sa camera. So ang diameter niya na may part nga longer siya baga ni diri, for example, that will be your primary axis. Secondary axis is perpendicular to that. So you measure that diameter and then you measure the diameter along this axis po. So duha ka buok ninyo ang sukdon. So ingana na. So these are growth parameters na. Unsa pa? Crop height. So you can state your objective as something like this, determine the growth of and so on. Now let me paste this one. But you get the idea. No, I can't give too much details kay malangan tag samot. Okay? So dire something like that. Puni pa. Second ninyo nga objective is kari na ang yield na pud niya. So yield, you're talking about kini na. So weekly ninyo kuhaon ng diameter, weekly ninyo kuhaon ng height, then leaf biomass, that's yield na o total biomass upon harvest na. So timbang sa ato ang tanom. Okay? Yeah. It's something like that. So I think that's pretty much it. Post na ko na nimo. No? So Angelica, ingana, you learn also from the suggestions I gave dito sa kang primero nga work na akong ipakita ganiha. So, improve your introduction. Okay, proper citation, tanawa, nagdubli-dubli na imong parentheses, that's very wrong. I don't know how to do that. Probably you just copied and pasted this one, so be careful with your citations. Wala ka naka-attach imong references. Okay? Make sure you attach your references aron dili mo magbalik-balik, and then you follow the citation style indicated in our reference katong gihatag ninyo katong SEAT formatting guidelines. Kini nganong tagurha ka book na imuhang open parenthesis usa sa tan-awa dito ang proper citation style. Do not italicize. I don't think that's right. Wala na siya naka-italics. Okay? Period niya, comma, then close. So ang introduction, you start sa general concepts, then you go into more specific and so on and so forth. So here, you're looking into the effect of the fermented marine or fermented seaweeds dito sa growth and yield of lettuce. So maybe you can talk about lettuce, and then you can talk about fermented plant juices, no, sa iyang effect on sa mga possible ng mga nutrients like this ngayon na mention, and so on. And then you talk about the problems sa lettuce. Like for example, hydroponically grown lettuce is generally deficient in micronutrients because everything is controlled. No, ang macronutrients na atong ginahatag using the fertilizers katong mga formula nga atong gihatag. So diha ka mosuod using fermented ng mga seaweeds or whatever, na probably dito makuha na to ang mga micronutrients that can make it better. Well, of course, baka prevent siguro probably yung tip-burn kay mo naman deficiency ng tip-burn. Pero di lang na to i-specify kay it's very difficult to isolate tip-burn as an effect or the prevention of tip-burn as an effect of your treatment. Okay? So, kaya lang sa karon, if there are other suggestions later on, may iskutan na ni nato. Next na punta. Let me close this one. That's Angelica and then kini Floripe. Sa grupo gyapon ni, again, please indicate your group mates sa inyo hang isubmit. Kay gibay group na to niya di ko maugtas og check. Try to imagine og gatag sa pamutanan. Uy, mao man lang gihapon ni. Pariha lagi mo, kauban mo. Pariha ra man dai mo gi-submit, so kauban siguro mo. Okay, unya pasabta ko og kinsa. Mo ni bati og dili ninyo i-indicate ang names. So follow the format I gave. Maurag yun nga material. Giusab lang ang font diri. So follow the material, follow the formatting guidelines, ang style, and you indicate all your names into one paper. Okay? Dugang-dugang na nag-check kanan. Proper pruning of ampalaya. I think kumanan eh. Itanaw ko na po ni ganiha. Inyo ra pong i-submit. Hortigroup. O, Hortigroup. Pero kinsa man nga mga group, o, nabasa ko na ni kaganiha. Inyo ra i-submit itong balik. Please indicate the names. Turned in late. Si Hana Relampagos. Let me see. Sa man niyang kalaki. Mycovam fertilizer in the growth and production of Ipomea batatas. Oh, so bali ha, dapat ang sweet potato may nasa gawas, ang kining Ipomea batatas may sa sulod kasi scientific name na siya. Dili na po na siya capital din ha. Ha, be careful with that. Mycovam fertilizer. Mycovam na lang siya. Di mas na fertilizer na Mycovam. Tatanawan ninyo. You should put in, okay, si Inday Hana is following the format. So, in this case, you indicate all your names here sa ka-groupmates ninyo. No? Oh, adi-adi ay. Oh, Marie Joy Marina, Crystal Amaka. Very good. Very good. October 2022. Effectiveness of Mycovam. You follow this format ha. Na naman ko'y gihatag ninyo. Kini dito tani sa previous page. So, pag add ninyo sa mga names ninyo, i-adjust ra unta wala pa ganin ninyo ni mausab ako pa ng pangalan diha. I-adjust ninyo para kini mosaka ni, and then you start on this na pod. Title wala niyo gi-indicate dire ang title. Inyo pud nang i-overwrite ng title of the thesis katong Mycovam blah blah diha. Major in unsay major ninyo indicate that one. You fill this up na pod unta og na moy naduol nga mga likely nga mga advisors ninyo. Okay? Hasta ni tabok na ni siya og lain nga page. Let's see first. Let me see. I want to see the objectives first. Objectives. Impact. Okay, kini nga mga terms. No? To validate the analysis by determining the impact. Unsa man gyud? Mag-validate mo, mag-analyze mo, mag-determine mo og impact. See? So you have to be very careful sa ato ang choice of words para dili ta malibog. Kung mag-validate, mag-analyze, mag-determine, ayaw usahain in one objective statement. Provide insight regarding factors and process that affects the production of sweet potato. Medyo layo na ni siya. Kini na ako'y idea gamay pero libog ka, you're using too many verbs diya, no? To assemble data for subsequent analysis on the relationship between Mycovam fertilizer. What's the point of assembling data? Analysis? Well, no. Confirm investment, land development, production development, layo na kayo ni. Okay? So muna, careful kayo ta sa pag-formulate sa itong objectives. So, na may idea on saan. Inform the farmers of public regarding the impacts. No. It's too much pa. Wala pa kanita nag-conduct sa ito ang study, no? Okay? So, it's too much pa. So, Mycovam is, I'm not sure unsa gisulod na ni Mycovam. Basta kabalo ko na anis UPLB. Ug asa ni apply. Biological fertilizer. Okay. So, gikan sa fungus na ini siya. Inday. Mycovam, pwede na taka-order ani dito sa UPLB. Is a soil-based biological fertilizer containing spores, infected roots and propagules of beneficial vesicular arbuscular mycorrhizal fungi. Mo ni inyong indicate dito sa, so it's a biofertilizer di ay. Okay. Mycovam helps seedlings roots absorb water and nutrients, particularly phosphorus. Mycovam also prevents root infection by pathogens and increases plant tolerance to drought and heavy metals. Mycovam is cheap and easy to use since a kilo of it can fertilize 200 plants. The application is done only once throughout the entire life of a plant. It can replace 60 to 85% of the chemical fertilizer requirement of plants. 60 to 85%, no? Farmers can apply Mycovam on agricultural crops such as root crops, fruit trees, forest trees, except pines and dipterocarps. So, root crops inyo ha, pero og ako'y pangutan-o ninyo, kuan kay ni lay anak barato ra ba? Makita mo mahal agronomy. ayaw lang ng sweet potato, magkamote, pila ra kilos kamote. Go for mas expensive nga commodity, maybe sweet corn, no? Sweet corn na lang. Use sweet corn. So, mayon ka og something like the effectiveness of mycovam biofertilizer on the growth and yield of sweet corn. Sweet corn na lang. Siya mais magyapon na siya. So I suggest sweet corn na lang inyong buhaton on inyong gamiton niya using mycovam. And then what are the different treatments ato lang i-identify na later. So unsa man say for example ano na lang growth and yield of sweet corn. Sweet corn as affected by something like this, as affected by mycovam, or capital mo guni, mycovam, as affected mycovam biofertilizer. Ano lang, something like that. That will be your title sa pagkakaroon. This will change later on. Okay, again ang introduction ninyo should focus on the topic. And then, ang inyong objectives this time will be determine the growth. So, growth, magsukod mo height, mag-ihap mo dahon. Like every 2 weeks siguro. So, every 2 weeks, gikan pagpugas ninyo, you count the number of leaves, you measure the height. So that's growth. So the growth of, determine the growth of sweet corn as affected by mycovam application. Yan na. By mycovam biofertilizer application. Okay? So objective, kato ako example sa objective determine something like determine the growth of sweet corn as affected by the application of mycovam biofertilizer, something like that. Particularly in terms of a height, plant height, 2, number of leaves. Second objective ninyo is determine the yield, blah blah blah. Yield na. Unsa may yield components na to, like timbang sa mais lang, pilay edad niya nga gi-harvest. Kamo na isuwat ana tiwas. Ato lang koreksyonan po. Okay? Yield and other components. Naay daghaning components sa agronomy, na yield and yield components na sukdo niya ang katason sa corn ear, mag-ihap pa ka og pila ka buok kernels and so on. Pangitaan na ninyo, you can find that one, no? So something like that ay mga yield components na siya. Paste na ako dire sa akong comments dito, yun, then I'll post that one na yun. Okay, so we already basically have an idea of unsay atong kalaki ani nga study. So probably inig-abot sa introduction, wala na tayo ipumiya batatas kaya like I said, it's barato ra arita sa mahalon pero if you insist you want to go with kuan kani siyang kamote, then by all means use kamote, pero I would suggest you go for a high value crop like maybe sweet corn than sweet potato. Decreasing production of it on the effect on the growth. Okay, so instead you change the material into sweet corn na. Okay, kini, this is also good. Gusto mycorrhiza. Mo da ini vesicular arbuscular mycorrhiza dining VAM and fish sugars and they assist with the capture of phosphorus. Okay, this is good. So I need to see that one. Soil base. Okay, so ayuhala ning hanay, but it's already there. No, except Victor Carp amon ako nakitan. can be used to enhance growth of it. Indicate your sources. Pasalamat na ba? Like isa may source ninyo. If this was your source, cite this one properly. Ha? Application. Okay. Plant pathogens are forming. Okay. So basically, ang ana to. So again, you start from a more general discussion. You go into a more specific discussion. So again, you follow this pattern gyapon nga mag-background to give an idea. You start with a short mention of sweet corn and mycobam, and then significance. Why is it important? Like fertilizers are getting expensive. Mycobam is a type of fertilizer nga kanang bio fertilizer or fungus-based fertilizer nga mo actually makatabang sa tanong kung na siya beneficial microorganisms ang dating niya basically, no? Then you go to objectives. Ana lang sa para dili ta mag-igit-igit, so you can improve that one based on the suggestions I gave. Hanaya ninyo, follow the format, tanawa na gubot pa kayo ano man na naunsa na pormahan na. Oh wow, uncertainty, wala pa. State of the problem. Why is it the problem? Main problem is mahal ang fertilizer. That's the main problem. And then ang concept na to, because miingon ba siya dire nga it can replace 80 to 65% of the chemical fertilizer requirements. See? So mo ninyo buhaton, like replace, you add only, so probably sa methods ninyo, okay, take note of this. Probably sa methods ninyo is ang buhaton ninyo is pa-analyze sa yuta, then ask for a recommendation, okay, and then ang treatments ninyo is you apply only, mo replace man siya 60 to 85%, meaning based on the recommendation you leave only 15 to 40% of the recommendation. Meaning, example, kung tahay ang recommendation is to apply nitrogen at 100 kilograms per hectare. I hope that makes sense, ha? For example, after analysis sa yuta, ang recommendation nagaingon nga you apply nitrogen at 100 kilograms per hectare. Since mycobam can replace 60 to 85%, then i-reduce na to og 40% na lang. So instead nga 100 kilos, 40 kilos na lang ang nitrogen na to i-apply. Then ang usa, 15 kilos na lang yun. So maybe you can break it down, like you apply 15% only of the recommendation, then atong i-anam-anam og padako 15% of the recommendation, 30% of the recommendation, 45% of the recommendation. Ingana na bali. And then you apply mycobam all throughout. Tanaw ninyo kung sa epekto niya dito. Then probably you have also a treatment nga you give 100% of the recommendation pero wala siya yung mycobam, and then see the difference. Ang atong i-imagine there is kung wala difference, it means maayo og na mycobam because it's actually a lot cheaper. So next time mananom ta, apply na lang ta og 40% na lang sa recommendation for that particular soil and for that particular crop. Makasave na ta. So mo to ang main shortcoming na to, ang mahal ng fertilizers. Okay? So I think you get the idea there. I'm closing that one up. Kapoy na magyaw-yaw lagi. May proper pruning, agronomy. Kini-research.doc. Manampot siguro ni. Maoron ni gisa. Let me see this one. Indicate niyo ang kagrupo ninyo. Ha? Madani siya. Inyo lang gibalik-balik kung submit. Wala na lang tato. Indicate lang ninyo tanan ninyo ang names. Horty. John Dominic Amaya. Sa mali, wala gali title. How will I know? Unsa ni? Sige. Lettuce. Unsa man ni? Wala ko balo sa title ani. Okay. It's the growing of plants. Ako lang sa basahon ha, in silence. Kamu basa lang po mo diha. Hilom sa ako. Saba na kayo, sir. Okay. I really don't know what you intend to do here. you want to increase the production of in the hydroponics facility. This is an objective. Ubot mo yung taon, that's not the significance. Pero how? I don't know yet. Which among the organic fertilizers? Okay, amo ni atong i-state daan sa inyo ha. Sa title pa lang daan dong ha. Okay, maglisod ta og sabot ug unsa ni. Okay. Organic fertilizers. Ug unsaon pag-apply, I don't know. Wa pa to kabalo. It's good masabit na mo methods. Ang akong ibutang next nga inyong i-submit will be a complete ng package ng proposal para inig correction na to. I can see the methods, I can see the review of literature, I can see the format, everything na. Ha? Pwede tagaan ta mo og kano sa matapos ang semester, Jen?
January, sa mga
Third week sa January. Piki naman ta. Before mag-Christmas break, luuya po ninyo tagag-assignment karon eh. Yeah, yung pasubmit ako first thing by January, no, complete. Best result in lettuce production. Okay, you did not mention unsang organic fertilizer dong. It's difficult to correct this kung wala ko'y idea pa og unsa. That's why I need to see the methods. Determine which organic fertilizer. Wala ka mention pa ba og unsa nga organic fertilizer, pero mayong kag which babot pasabot siguro nimo ungo ang organic fertilizer, which organic fertilizer. Pero I don't know yet. Provide data to me. Kini mo layo pa ni siya kayo. Okay, so I have a hard time correcting this one because I do not know the specifics of this particular proposal. Again, ani na lang, isaksak na ko na lang daan karon as undangon ko na kitaas na kayo, maghimo na lang ko og lain. Okay, I will be posting a new assignment which will be due next year. So January next year. So naamo yung sa katuig to work on it. You complete it, ha? From title, introduction, review of literature, methods, and then references. Follow the format that I gave. Iapas ko lang ni ako ang mga corrections sa kaning uban nga group. So I have checked or corrected or gave suggestions sa tulo or upat na ba ni. And then for sure, ang uban ninyo already have picked up a thing or two from the mistakes of others. So, ayaw na ninyo balika ang mga sayop sa uban. Ha? So, in the meantime, I'll stop here. I'll upload this one as a video nga matanaw ninyo aron pulan mong tanaw sa akong dagway. Ha? If you have questions, please post something sa ato ang FB group or send me an email. Ha? Ana lang. Okay? Next week, kasi magkita pa man ta next week, mahisgutan na to niyang uban nga mga groups. Okay? Again, kani inyo adong, like I said, I do not know yet the specifics, so it's difficult to give the suggestions. Ug unsa nga organic fertilizer, you follow the pattern, no? Like, to determine what, no? To determine the growth of or the yield of as affected by unsa man nga mga treatments ninyo. O, inganaon ra gyapon pag-state para sabotable, para dili ta maglibog. For questions, send me an email or you post some things ato ang FB group kaya akong i-address. Ha? Yeah, next week kita ta para i-discuss na to ang uban. Alright? Ha? Sige. Bye-bye.